We can't start recording. It is not turned on. It take time. Yeah, now it is turned on recording. Very good. Secondary storage devices. So another important part in the PC hardware, like a CPU, RAM, ROM, hard disk, sorry, RAM, ROM, CPU, RAM, ROM, then motherboard. ROM means BIOS, and all about a BIOS things, and your motherboard, SMPS. And the next one is secondary storage device. Primary storage devices are RAM and ROM. Secondary storage devices are your hard disk, floppy disk, tape drives, zip drives, CD-ROMs, DVD drives, Blu-ray, disk drives are secondary storage devices. The secondary storage devices usually like a non-volatile type. The important drives are a hard disk drive. Okay. So here earlier days we have a division like a hard disk, floppy disk, tape drive, zip drives are a magnetic storage devices. Means we use a magnetic materials to store the data. And another one is optical storage drives. We use a laser beam to read and write the data in the CD, DVD or a Blu-ray disc. Okay. What is the use of this secondary storage device? That too hard disk kind of stuff. Hard disk or a SSDs kind of stuff. Now people are using SSDs, right? What is the use? To store operating system, applications, and any regular data like a music, documents, videos, this kind of stuff, pictures. We can store the secondary storage devices. Okay. So it comes very easy to nowadays. Like a CD-ROMs, we are not using DVDs, we are not using Blu-rays, only for gaming stations only. Okay. Floppy disk, we are not using tape drives. We are using not in our home. Tape drives are using for a backup purpose. Tape drives, these tape drives, or we are using for a backup purpose. Zip drives for only to install operating system using zip drives. They are used earlier. Now using or not, I don't know. Okay. This is only a small part, but see, look at here, guys. We are getting a hard disk. So what is this hard disk? Is see, it is a non-volatile permanent memory. So you can put the data, we can read the data, we can write the data, we can read the data, we can delete the data, we can move the data, anything we can do it with the data. Okay. It's not a permanent, means not a fixed memory. Temporary does not mean if you disconnect it, data will gone. No, it won't go. Even if you disconnect your hard disk, data will be there in your hard disk. Data will be there in your hard disk, even if you disconnected it. Store data. Okay, like so we can store data, we can retrieve data, we can delete the data kind of stuff. It is a mass storage, means large amount of data we can able to store. Like we are getting 1 terabyte of disk, 500 GB hard disk, 2 terabyte of hard disk, like a large size of data we can able to store. Usually store operating systems, applications, and data we can able to store in hard disk. Earlier we have a technology IDE, integrated device electronic technology is there. So later it is developed into ATA, advanced technology attachments. Okay, so IDE, the technology improvement, because IDE 80 pin connector old days we are using. Later ATA technology came, attachments, advanced technology attachment. In that one, two types, PATA, SATA. Parallel advanced technology attachment, which is 40 pin ribbon connector. So like this is the PATA type of hard disk, or IDE or PATA type of hard disk we can say. So this is the ribbon cable to connect from your hard disk to motherboard. Hard disk to motherboard. Another one is SATA. It is a 7 pin single wire connector which use it to connect your hard disk to your motherboard. Okay, so these two type of interfaces are there. So PATA is replaced with SATA earlier days only, not nowadays. It happened 10 years back only. Okay, so SATA came into market, and SATA it is further developed into SATA version 1, SATA 2, SATA 3. The SATA 3 is a current version, 6 Gbps data transmission speed. Means data connection speed, not read and write speed is different. Just the connectivity data transmission connectivity speed is 6 Gbps. Data SATA 3 interface. This is the older one. This is the next level. And in an internal hard disk means inside your computer, two type of inches are there: 3.5 inch, 2.5 inch. 3.5 inch hard disk generally for desktop purposes. 2.5 inch hard disks are generally for laptops and mini PC. Okay, and of course, in a hard disk, we have an external hard disk also there. The external hard disk are used for to store backup drives, storage drives, used for regular data, like you have a huge amount of data stored in your PC. For example, I have a lot of class videos. I cannot store always in my C drive or maybe in D drive. So this is a class related PPTs, all kind of stuff is there. I want to store separately. Or a F drive contains so much of my personal data. I cannot keep it always in my physical laptop. Or maybe here I have a certain data, which is I have a CTs. All are operating systems, Windows 10, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2019, Hyper-V, Linux operating systems, okay, file like Red Hat operating systems, Solaris operating system, different type of operating system images I downloaded. I cannot keep always like this. This is occupying more space. Or I download a lot of applications, then I will want to store all these things in separately from my PC. Maybe I download a lot of movies, can store separately. So what is the best is external hard disk. See, 1 terabyte of hard disk, you'll get 3,500, 3,500 or 4,000 maximum. You will get it 1 terabyte of hard disk, or you can go to 2 terabyte of hard disk. It is 2 terabyte of hard disk from Chroma. Okay, so you get one touch. Is 550 only. 600, 6,000 you will get it. So you can store data. And also there is a certain portable enclosures. If you have a internal hard disk like this, like a 2.5 inch hard disk, if you have, or SSD you have, then you can put it in this enclosures and make it as a external hard disk. Like you have old laptop, and the old laptop having a hard disk, uh, that hard disk you are no longer using, you can convert into external hard disk also. You can do it. A small connectivity issue is there. All connectivity, that circuit will be here, and simply can transfer the data to USB port for transferring heavy data if you are there. Pen drives and all small sizes. Guys, this is about your hard disk and how it is look like and what are the type of connections and sizes. Now, whenever you have a hard disk, like you got a new hard disk, whenever you have an hard disk, okay, so you have an hard disk. Now, I shut down my Linux machine. I open my Windows 10 virtual machine. Okay, so to show you something. So whenever you are having a hard disk, you insert a hard disk to your system. Okay, you have a hard disk. You put a fresh hard disk to your PC. The hard disk does not contain any partition or anything. You can set a fresh hard disk. Connected a fresh hard disk to your motherboard. Okay. So you open your system and it asks initialize the hard disk as a MBR or a GPT like this. You insert a new hard disk. It asks initialize the disk either MBR or GPT. Okay. It asks initialize your hard disk as a MBR disk or a GPT. So what is this MBR and GPT? It is a partition style. It is a partition style. So you can initialize as MBR or GPT. If you initialize as a MBR, so what is MBR? It is a master boot record. If you initialize the disk as a MBR, so we can create maximum 4 primary partitions. We can create maximum 4 primary partitions. One primary, second primary, third primary, fourth primary. What about a remaining part? We can't use it. Can't use the remaining part. Just for example, you have a 500 GB hard disk. This is 100 GB. This is 50. This is something like a 50. You are used 100. So totally 300 GB you are utilized. Remaining 200 GB left. It is left only. It is left only. You cannot use remaining space. Or you have to adjust according to your total disk space. You have to adjust according to your total disk space. So you have 1 terabyte. You have to split 1 terabyte by 4. You can split like a first one is like a 300 GB, 200 GB, again 300 GB, 200 GB, or 250. You can do it. That is okay. But from Windows it is different. Okay. So or or you can create a 3 primaries, and the fourth one is become a extended partition. It is become one extended partition. So 3 primary completed, the fourth one automatically a extended partition. You can create a logical partitions inside. Create logical partitions inside. So 3 primary completed, fourth is extended partition. Inside extended, we can create a logical partition. Multiple logical partitions we can able to. So that is a MBR type of hard disk. It is a 4 primary, and or you can use 3 primary partition, 1 extended. 1 extended, you can create a multiple logical interrupt. And each partition, whether primary or logical, each partition size is up to 2 terabyte. Up to terabyte single partition size we can create it. More than 2 terabyte with MBR we cannot able to. Of course, my PC will be slow because background update. Yesterday I have seen that update part, but I didn't update and shut down. I want to show in the morning batch. If my PC is very slow, what to do? So compulsory check the updates and restart. That point I didn't done to show them, so we don't have a time for that additional time we don't get. It is good. So generally, so yesterday I shut down it, but I didn't done update and shut down. So if your system is suddenly down, means it is showing a very slow kind of stuff, and it is showing this kind of symbol like a yellow color or red color symbol here. It is update is pending. Okay. Or you can go to settings and see once is any update is waiting. It is also one tip, guys. System is very slow, and people think it is always a virus kind of stuff or any other things. It is also in Windows 10. If any update, if update is going on, installed, update is downloading, installed, and waiting for restart to apply the update. Okay, so you have to compulsory do the restart first. Let it do. Anyway, I will show you these partitions in this window. Just I'm waiting. Otherwise, freezes while we are working. Let it do. Okay, guys, this is a 4 primary partitions or a 3 primary, 1 extended. In one extended, you can create a multiple logical part. Next partition size style is GPT. GPT, GUID partition table. So you select your disk as a GPT type, okay, GPT style, then it is GUID partition table. In this one, no extended kind of stuff, no logical tries are required. Directly straight primary partitions. Like you have a hard disk, you can create a number of primaries without any restrictions. Okay, so multiple primary partitions you can create it. But what is the maximum partitions you can create it? 128 partitions. No need of any extended partitions or a logical partitions not required. So you can create multiple partitions away, but maximum 128 partitions in GPT type. In MBR type, you can give 3 primary plus 1 extended. Extended will do logical partition. Here it is 128 primary partition. In this one, in MBR, one partition maximum 2 terabyte. You can create up to maximum 2 terabyte of single partition. Here, single partition is more than 2 terabyte. More than 2 terabyte is up to 18 EB. This means up to 2 terabyte and more than 2 terabyte. This is up to 2 terabyte. Only up to 2 terabyte. This is less than 2 terabyte and more than 2 terabyte also support up to, as per some test books, 18 EB. 18 EB on single partition. Okay, that is a MBR and GPT style. You guys understand MBR and GPT master board record? Yes. Pending restart is there. I click on restart now, so better. You can download and install second one also, but it will take time again. So let it restart, let it update, let it MBR and GPT. Okay, guys. Next, I'm open my disk management diskmgt.msc to open the disk management. This is my system disk management, my system disk management, not virtual machine disk management. See, I have a 2 hard disk, disk 0, disk 1. Okay, so disk 0, right click, you can see convert into MBR disk. It means it is a GPT disk. This is convert into GPT disk, means it is a MBR disk. Okay, so in a disk 1, you can see there is a 3 primary partitions are there. I cannot create a 4th primary or 4th extended. Why? Because 3 are filled. I calculated. I take first primary, second primary, third is completely full, remaining disk as a primary. Why? I need a more space for this particular partition because I put all my virtual machines inside. That's why I need a more than 500 GB. This is 200 GB, this is 200, but I given 500 GB for this. Okay. I shrink the volume. What is a shrinking volume? Means you'll get some free space. H drive having a certain free space, but very less free space, like 32 GB only it is there. Okay, so I will take some 20 GB out of it, 20480. 20 GB I am shrinking from S drive. So it contains a free space of 32 GB. So in out of that 32 GB free space, I am taking 20 GB from there. Okay, so that is shrinking volume. Just to show you a partition, that's it. The extended or partition, just show you there is a partition. Okay, so here it is 3 primary and 1 extended is not created. I'm creating a simple partition in this unallocated 20 GB. Okay, 3 primary completed. So I have a 1 unallocated space. In this one, I'm creating a some 10 GB drive. So right click, new simple volume, creating 10 GB drive 10240. 10240. Next, next, next. Finish. See it is 10 GB drive is created. So I drive is created. You can see I drive is created 10 GB volume. This is my I drive. I drive is created. Okay, guys. But if you see the color is different. What is this meaning is logical drive. I drive is a logical drive. H drive is a primary partition. And what is this green border it is showing for this total space? The green border is extended partition. Light green is free space. The light blue represent logical drive. So this is a MBR disk. Converted to GPT means this one is a MBR disk. Once 3 primary completed, the 4th one is automatically extended volume. Inside extended 10 GB is created. I didn't say extended or primary. I didn't say create extended or a primary because from Windows 7 onwards, first 3 primary completed, 4th one is automatically an extended. It won't ask you primary or extended kind of stuff. You create a first drive, primary. Second one, primary. Third one, primary automatically. Once 3 completed, 4th one, extended. Entire remaining disk is extended. In the extended, you can create a logical automatically. The partition is become large. And like this, we can create number of logical drives. In this one also, you can create new simple volume. I'm creating 4096 means 4 GB. I'm creating there. It is I drive. Another volume Z drive will be created here, and then 6 GB free space. In 6 GB also we can able to create a volumes. So this is called a partitioning, guys. Okay, primary partition, extended partition, and logical partition. Guys, understand partitioning? I'm deleting partitions. Okay, I create a partition and I deleting the partition. Now free space also deleted, that I'll extended. Now I want to add this 20 GB to H drive. Go to H drive, right click, extend volume, go to H drive, right click, extend volume. Then this 20 GB, from 20 GB, how much you want to add it to H drive? I want everything. I no changes. So this 20 GB I'm adding back to H drive. So now I'll get my space back. Refresh the 32 GB. Okay. That is it. First I done shrink volume. First what I've done, I done a shrink volume. This is the H drive I have part, H drive part is there. So I done a shrink volume, the H drive. Okay, I done a shrink volume. This is H drive. I have some free space in the H drive. So I choose right click, shrink volume. Then I choose it contains more than 30 GB free space, but I choose only 20 GB shrink. So this 20 GB become unallocated. This volume size reduces, 20 GB unallocated space is created. I want to create a volume in 10 GB drive. I want to create it. What I done? So I right click, choose new volume. Okay, new simple volume. I choose new simple volume. Then I choose 10 GB, 10.0.2.4.0 MB it is. That's why I put like this. 10.2.4.0 means it's a 10 GB. So I created. Now, but already three primaries are completed. This will become one extended inside that 10 GB is logical drive. Okay. Now, lastly, what I have done, I delete this volume, I delete this one, and deleted everything. Okay. So I deleted the 10 GB drive and I delete this 20 GB free space in the extended volume. Okay. Then I extend this, I combine this 20 GB back to this H drive. Okay, like this, I right click on the H drive, I choose extended volume, then I choose the 20 GB, entire 20 GB, I add it. Now my H drive is back with the, so this is disk partitioning. It is updated already. Maybe now it is already 5, 614, means 615 already. How much we can able to see, we cannot show you much. Okay guys, understand partitioning. Okay. So if you partition the disk, you make a partition, but you want to store the data in the partition, right? You created a partition, but in the partition, you want to store the data. You want to store the data. To store the data, we need a file system. In Windows, automatically, it choose a file system, either it like a NTFS or FAT file system. Okay, in Windows, it automatically choose either FAT or NTFS. You can choose it. If you don't choose, in Windows 10, it is automatically NTFS. Windows 8, Windows 7, it automatically NTFS file system. Automatically it is NTFS file system. You want to create a FAT file system, so you have to choose when you're creating a drive, you have to choose the FAT file system. Or you can format the drive. I can't format any drive here. I will try on this one. I'm just guys, don't do it. Please don't do it. No problem, no problem. Not at all a problem because I have this machine now. If I lost some data, I will last here only. That's why I chose a virtual machine to do certain practicals. If I do certain practicals on virtual, if I do certain kind of practicals on a virtual machine, no problem. Only virtual machine related things only problem. Your physical machine won't get format. Like for example, I choose the drive, right click format. Accidentally, I click OK. Okay. Accidentally, I click OK, like a start. The data will be removed. Okay. Guys, lot of people think format meaning is remove the data. Exactly, no. Format means defining a file system. You want a defined file system, FAT32 or NTFS. The format means defining file system. Format means defining file. But in the process of defining file system, data may delete it. Maybe. Sometimes data may loss also. Okay. But most of the time, data loss kind of stuff is there. Okay. Incidentally, if you want to convert FAT to NTFS without a data loss using certain commands, you can also do it. Okay, you can also do it. We done that kind of stuff earlier. Now we are not doing anyway, not using any commands to do it. So here it is in format. So currently this is NTFS partition. Okay. Does it contain any data? Of course, does not contain any data. If it is contain a data, also no problem. Okay. I am format. I choose start 32. So I'm changing the. I restarted this PC, right? Update restart done. It is still showing a freezing kind of matter. Is now it is a either NTFS or FAT. Whether it is a NTFS or FAT. If it is a FAT, it will give some different kind of file allocations, like a storing way of data is different, features are different. If it is a NTFS type file system, storing of data is different. Okay. So NTFS file system having certain features. If you look at here, this is security tab is there. Can you see security tab, POTA tab, security tab, POTA tab. Can you find that security here? Can you find quota? Next, can you see this compress here? Can you see index option? Okay. So there is a certain things we'll miss always. Security. Okay. Quota is not there in the NT-FAT. Okay. Compress and index. Can't find those things here. So these are the main features of NTFS. Security, quota, compress, index. Of course, there is another feature called encryption. Security means allow or deny access of read and write of a file or a directory. Means allow deny access for a read and write purpose. For a user or a group, you are allow or a deny read and write permissions. That is security, not virus and antiviruses. Okay, it is access permissions. Security is a access permission. Quota is space utilization permission. So for example, you have a 200 GB hard disk or 500 GB hard disk. A user is keep putting data. So we can put a quota in it. Only use 20 GB. Do not use more than 20 GB. We put a quota. User can able to store up to 20 GB data in the hard disk. Cannot use more than it. That is quota. Compress. If you compress the data, so you will get a more space available. If you compress the data, so you will get a more space, means more data you can able to storage. Index. Index is used to search data very easily. You try to search the data from your search bars or these corners, like you search in this PC kind of stuff. It is very helpful to search the data, or fetching the data is very useful. Okay, guys, this is the about your formatting and file system. So what is the use of these file systems? Okay, so to store the data in the device, we need a file system. So this file system will help you to store data or arranging the data in the device. So in our Windows, we use generally FAT and NTFS. Now we are using NTFS only. Up to XP, FAT is there. FAT and TFS choice is there. Now it is by default NTFS. If you want FAT, then only we'll do FAT. And NTFS features security, encryption, compression, quota, and indexing. And FAT32 support maximum 32 GB partition, not more than 32 GB it won't support. But NTFS support up to 2 terabyte, more than 2 terabyte, maximum 18 EB it will support. FAT file system used nowadays for SD cards, pen drives kind of stuff. Okay, but memory cards in my days, like in a olden days, so I say it's 2 GB, 1 GB. That is very great. 4 GB, oh, very great. 4 GB is we don't imagine that 4 GB is available. Just 2 GB, 1 GB only. 2 GB is first target is to purchase 2 GB pen drive or 2 GB memory cards. Then 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB, 64 GB. I have a one mobile is there, that is a 64 GB old mobile. The new mobile 128 GB. Then we are now it is 256 GB support. 512 GB support is there. 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, up to 2 terabyte of memory cards are available in market. But FAT supporting 32 GB. What is the alternative? Use the exFAT. Guys, if you see any new mobile kind of stuff, if you insert a memory card, immediately it will format with the exFAT. Okay, so exFAT support more than 32 GBs. And another file system is their REFS, resilient file system. Resilient file system. Okay, so REFS. What is this REFS? We store a data into the drive. If you keep reading, writing, changing, okay, so data may corrupt. So CRC value prevents CRC cyclic redundancy check will make not to get corrupted this data. Okay, CRC is the algorithm. It create a data, so it will check. We can able to check data is good, data is corrupted, or recover the data from corruption and do it in a REFS formatted drive. In Linux and Unix, we use ext3, ext4, XFS file system. If you use network sharing, in using by using a network sharing a data like a NFS kind of stuff, GAFS we are using to share the data through network. So those are a network file system, common internet file system, UDF for a DVDs, HSFS or CDFS kind of stuff, CD form. This is about your file systems. How much I told? Only last part is there, guys. That is a SSD. I will tell SSD and I will close. What is SSD? Solid state drive. Nowadays, this is also one common question, guys. Difference between hard disk and SSD. What is SSD? Nowadays, all laptops or everything comes with the SSDs only. It is a NAND type of memory. Like you have a pen drives, ECMMCA kind of stuff, EMMC, eMMC kind of storages. Okay, pen drive kind of storages. Flash drives means SD cards. These are all NAND memory devices. So hard disk contains plotters, read and write headers, actuator arm, actuator assembly, spindle motors. These are all there. It makes your hard disk heavy and loose parts. It's more. It is hard disk is data stored in these plotters. Okay. SSDs data stores in chips, hard disk data stores in these platters only. And SSD is a lightweight, so we can easily carry from in one place to another place. It is easy to transport, low power consumption compared to normal hard disk. Very small in size, very compact, high speed data transmission, high speed data read and write. Okay. So it is SSD is a costly, so then it is only suitable for a operating system and application, not suitable for a regular data. For example, I have a movies, music files, pictures, or maybe a virtual machine files are there. I can't store in the SSD. That is a big headache I'm facing now to purchase a new computer because see this is 500 GB hard disk, 531 GB total space. this entire 531 GB, out of this 531 GB total capacity, 500 GB means 498 GB currently is filled with virtual machines only. So this is my all my class virtual machines. I will delete some virtual machines in the future, but now currently, okay, these virtual machines, yeah, I deleted these things. So I will find, yeah, this is the virtual machine data. The current running virtual machine, these virtual machines, this whatever it is there, that information is here. Okay, so that is that information stored here. Okay, so this completely filled with the virtual machines. Some are deleted, some are still available. Okay, 500 GB almost I am used. Now the laptops are come with SSD 240 GB or a 512 GB. So that is enough for your operating system because Windows 10, Windows 11 keep updates. That is not enough for them. And applications I will install. I am using so many other softwares. I need lot of data to store both application, operating system, games, and where is enough storage? Okay, and it is a regular data, not required high-speed data transmission. Ping speed is not required. By using SSD, SSD is a faster read and write. You can achieve faster booting also. That's it is suitable for operating system and applications purpose only. Not to store the regular data because SSD is a costly. You want to buy a 250 GB SSD, with this cost you can purchase 1 terabyte of hard disk, either internal or external hard disk. Okay, so in a hard SSDs we have a two types. One is SATA interface SSD like this, another one is NVMe.M.2 SSD. Okay guys, you have a computer, means desktop is there, you want to purchase a new desktop and you want to insert a SSD inside. Go to M.2. Your SSD M.2, why M.2? Which is faster compared to SATA interface SSD. M.2 SSD is faster in read and write speeding. Next, this SSD is enhanced on a motherboard. I will show you that M.2 SSD on motherboard. Okay, you can see this directly. We can insert on motherboard. Normal SATA is cable connectors. This chip directly connected to your motherboard. So like you are sitting like your RAM kind of stuff only. So it is faster connectivity is there. Okay, if you are using SATA connectors on motherboard. Okay, this is SATA connectors. Like a hard disk is connected, or a SATA SSDs or a SATA hard disk will connected through wire from hard disk to SATA drive. SATA to some motherboard to your uh, disk drive, means hard disk or a SSD SATA drive will connected through wires only. I didn't get any full pictures here. Otherwise, I have to put that one picture is. Either a hard disk or a DRAM. It is connected through wire like this. See, that is another difference. This is SATA connection. This is SATA connection. Okay. This is a hard disk. They are connecting SATA cable and power cable. This is hard disk connection. Even you take a SATA SSD, same we are connecting like that only. Okay, so if you have a chance to go to M.2 SSD, this model, okay, use this model. This is faster than SATA SSD. SSD is faster than SATA hard disk. This is faster than SATA SSD. Little costlier than this one, but speed is good. You guys, this is about your storage. Your hardware components are completed. If you have a chance to read this thing, go through this one. This is troubleshooting at boot processing. At boot time, issues only if we are discussed, and slow system is slow. That is also we discussed here. That's it for today. Okay. Any doubts or anything? Sorry. Stop recording.